Truck Talk Media.
C10 Talk, episode 270. Jason Vannatta, Vannatta Fab.
That's exciting. I get to help people with this job, and I'm helping them create their dream truck too. So that's very rewarding as well. And I get to hang out with them at shows because I'm in Missouri. So most of the shows I go to are all scattered across the South and then up like Tennessee, Kentucky, the Carolinas. Well, that's where most of my customers are. And I get to meet a lot of my customers, and that's really enjoyable.
Damn, son. Seeing is believing, and our title sponsor, United Pacific, makes seeing a whole lot easier. The crispness of the United Pacific LED headlights, taillights, marker lights, and more makes seeing and showing your truck that much better. It's time to upgrade your old dim halogens for new LED headlights, taillights, and more. They offer the brightest and latest LED technology. Headlights are available up to 1,600 lumens, easy to install, and it fits right in the OEM housing. How about upgrading to sequential taillights? They're DOT approved and ready to ship today. And for you 73 to 80 GMC and Chevy square body guys, they've got the new front parking lights, LED with stainless steel bezel. Think UP Car Parts. That's upcarparts.com.
Let me tell you what Melvin Toast is packing right here. I've got 411 posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, scored over 30, 11-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some fucking muscle.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind? That just happened.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 truck podcast.
And now I have a chance to be the best, maybe the best in the world.
My old man is a television repairman. Got the ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I said I got 50 cents in that jukebox, and all I can hear is your mouth flapping. You hear that?
Here's your host, Ronnie Welch.
Here we go. What is up, C10 Nation? Coming at you with another episode of C10 Talk. Vannatta Fab, Jason. And then on the backside, we had the coverage from the Triple Crown of Rotting, 269. I thought I was going to get Jason's out before I went to the show out in Tennessee, and I didn't. So I thought I'd drop the Vannatta Fab, and then we'd have the interviews from Tennessee, but it got a little crisscross applesauce on that one. So you're getting 270 with Vannatta. So hopefully it all works out. You might hear some of the stuff was a little backdated, some shows that he's going to and different things like that, because I did record it a few weeks back. But that's just how it kind of worked out. So either way, a lot going on. You got even continued shows. I know this weekend, back out in Tennessee, you've got the C10 Nationals. October, don't forget about C10 Fall Revival. That's going to be like the 21st, I think, right there. C10 Fall Revival, North Carolina. And then the Big Daddy Dino's Get Down, November 10th and 11th. Going to be jam-packed, jelly-tight. It is going to be a good one. So a lot going on. One thing I want to mention before we jump into the pod is so crazy is just the other day we hit our 9 years from when I dropped my first intro episode. So that was September 23rd of 2014. So we just had our 9-year birthday and we are in our 10th year. So for this next year, it'll all be the 10-year episodes. To think that I believe this will be my 10th year covering the Get Down as well. So just crazy to think that when I sat down to put the pod together, there wasn't that many podcasts out there. I think we're a little ahead of our time. And now, there's pod on everything. So it doesn't really matter. But nonetheless, for those that are still listening, still tuning in and enjoying the content, we do appreciate it. Questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Ronnie at Truck Talk Media, RONNIE at trucktalkmedia.com. It's that easy. And, we'd love to hear from you. But yeah, crazy to think that we are hitting that 9-year anniversary. Just unreal. So next up, I've already recorded 271. That's going to be with Wayne Dick from Dick Industries. You might think like, what's he joking about now? But no, Wayne is a good dude. Met him last year at the Get Down, and he has a 62 ramp truck, which is a Corvair, but he's building a little square body, a 74 square right now. So he's up in Lethbridge, Alberta, Canada, and reached out to him. So already got that one recorded. So we've got 271 in the books, and then I'm supposed to have another interview tomorrow scheduled for 272. Yeah, so busy. Definitely bringing you guys some content. Hopefully everybody traveling out to the C10 Nationals in Tennessee, safe travels. Hope you have a good time. We've got more shows popping up nonstop, and we'll continue to try to get the word out on all of that. Jump back to 269 if you didn't get a chance. 270 Vannatta, 271 coming at you, and we're not stopping. So I'll be up at SEMA and then obviously at the Get Down as well. So we'll keep bringing you that content. How about a shout out? So the other day I think it was a Facebook Messenger, and it was from Dylan Ishii, and he said, "Hey, my son is listening to C10 Talk. He's in the shower. He's listening to C10 Talk." And I was like, dude, I got to give him a shout out. So Rosin, I think it's Rosin is hopefully the way you say it. What better way to get cleaned up and then just listen to C10 Talk at the same time? So two birds, one stone. Rosin, I appreciate it. Love it. And Dylan, thanks for sharing that. I'll send him a sticker pack. Kind of cool to think that the next generation is tuning in, and we want to make sure we take care of those guys and let them know that we love that they're tuning in and the passion, and keep it going. All right, guys, let's get into episode 270 with Jason Vannatta, and I think he's going to be out at C10 Nationals, so hopefully you guys see him out there if you're out there. And for everybody else, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate it. Late. All right. What up, C10 Nation? How about a little Jason Vannatta and Vannatta Fab? Jason, probably about 4 years ago, we ran into one another at C10s in the park. And I'm going to go on record to say, and I think I did at the time, that's one of my favorite C10 moments behind the mic, because I meet you, you've got this crazy rockin' red, just a kick-ass C10. And I'm like, hey, I'm Ronnie, the podcast guy. And you're like, cool. I'm Jason, the Fab guy. And I'm like, cool. And you're like, yeah, so what's the podcast? I'm like, well, you've never heard of the podcast? And you're like, no. And I'm like, you're like, well, you've never heard of Vannatta Fab? And I'm like, no. So I was like, well, you should have heard of me. And you're like, well, you should have heard of me. So, and we knocked out an interview. C10's in the trailer park. I'm going to say maybe 2019, but have you went every time? Do you go to that show every year?
No, I've gone probably 3 times, but that was my first interview ever. So that was pretty cool. It's fun.
Yeah, it was fun. And your truck has come a long ways, right? I've seen you dub it the guinea pig just because it seems like you've done a lot of trial and error and cutting your teeth on that build.
Yeah, it would have probably mostly been done then, I believe. But yeah, it's a guinea pig we call it that for a reason. I test out parts on it before I sell them for other companies so we can trust them. Plus, that gives me knowledge to know how to install them so I can answer customers' questions. Then all that sheet metal we sell and some other parts we have, they were all designed on that truck. So
yeah, well, it's one truck. That's
Thanks.
Probably my echo. You're gonna want to maybe turn, the old radio where the guy calls in. I wonder, am I loud for you, or is it just right?
It's just right.
Okay, I think on the delay it might come through. All right, so tell us a little bit who is Jason?
Like how I got started in all this?
Nah, I mean before that, like you married. I know I've seen you post your kids up. You got a side by side. You grew up in Missouri. You're out of I don't know if I'll say it right. Sedalia. It's kind of a cool name. It's kind of sexy. Sedalia, Missouri.
Yep, home of the Missouri State Fairgrounds.
All right, cool. Little known fact. So did you grow up there? What's your story before you got into trucks?
I grew up on a farm about 25 minutes from here in Lamont, Missouri. So I grew up on a farm. Dad and I farmed about 1,000 acres of corn, wheat, soybeans. We had hogs and cattle until I was about 20. Dad decided he didn't want to do that anymore. So he went into, I think, construction. And then I hung around till all the livestock was sold off. Then I went into the Air Force.
Okay. Thank you for your service. Yeah, we're
That
getting a lot of feedback on that when it kicks back. So what'd you do in the Air Force?
I was a electrical and environmental specialist on the B-2 bomber and the A-10 aircraft. So basically, it means I took care of all the electrical and all the air, which was awesome. Not knowing I was going to be doing air suspensions as part of my living someday. So when it comes to airflow, velocities, pressures, I went to school for all that. Then the electrical side too. I was electrical and environmental, so that's electrical and air. So when I go to wire the trucks and wire the air stuff,
So how long were you in the service?
I did 4 years active duty, then extended another year and a half because I was stationed at Pope Air Force Base, North Carolina. At my 3 year mark, 3.5 year mark, they gave me uh, orders to go to Whiteman, which is home. But I had to extend for a year and a half. I was like, boy, it'd be awesome to be at Whiteman, be at home, be job hunting while I'm at home instead of coming home to nothing. And that all worked. I had a job lined up. When I got out 2 months early just because I had taken a vacation in 2 years. So, because I was home. So I had 60 days saved up and went to work and then went back into the electrical field for a while.
Cool. So you get out, you are finding work. What kind of were you just looking for, a guy who grew up farming, now you've got some air and electrical background. What's the guy get into when he gets out of the service?
Well, I used that job. I went back into the electrical field. So I was wiring on houses and doing some commercial stuff. But then a big company here was building a big electrical department and fab shop. And they hired me to be an industrial electrician. But the guy who ran the fab shop kind of knew me from tinkering around with the trucks because he was running another fab shop. And I would come in there a lot buying steel for the mini trucks I was building back in the day for customers. And they asked if they could borrow me for the fab shop because we was doing a big job for Venezuela. It had like 7 people. So I went over there and I was cocky for about 2 days and realized these guys could weld and fabricate way better than I could. So I got a hold of the cockiest guy in the shop and had him train me and got to be really good at welding and fabricating. Stayed there for 5.5 years, and it was interfering with me seeing my daughters, and they were real little, and I was a single dad. So I left and started up Midwest Customs again. I'd had it going before, but without social media, we didn't have enough advertising to keep it going. But started doing that, and it just took off. And I started building guinea pig and building some of the sheet metal parts on it just for fun. People wanted them, and now we had social media. I could show people, hey, this is what I did today. Made some parts for my truck, and it just took off from there. People always talk about starting a business and failing over and over again. I never really dealt with that. It just took off, mostly because of social media. And so I did that at our farm, our new farm, for like 3 years. Then outgrew that and bought the shop here in town. Oh, and then changed the name to Vannatta Fabrication. There was too many places called Midwest Customs, like Midwest Custom Meat Cutting and Fabric and all that. So I wanted to separate it, and we had a good reputation, so I wanted to put the family's name on it. Plus, my name's sort of rare, so it works good for the business name. And it has worked good so far. So it's been 10 years now that I've been Vannatta Fabrication.
Obviously we're a mini trucker and you built some stuff, you cut your teeth probably doing that, you get into the service, it all worked out, your lineage to the trucks. How did you get into C10s? Were you a C10 guy, or did the guinea pig just kind of come along and you're like, I like the lines of these trucks? And how did you make that evolution?
I was raised with C10. So when we were farmers, for a certain amount of time, we couldn't afford like new trucks or newer trucks. So we would build a C10, or we had our K10. We was building a 68 C10. Grandpa was building about the same year K10. He had the chassis all done, the motor, I can't remember. Anyway, then he passed away. So Grandma gave us the truck. We put our good 68 body on it. Dad loves his 400 small blocks. Put that in there. It had a nice like 68 K10 farm truck. And then we had another one, a step side, that we used for cruise nights and stuff like that. So we had a fun one too. So I was raised with the C10. So I was building one for Dad, and I can't remember. No, I was building a 68 Camaro, no, 67 Camaro now we have too. I put quite a bit of labor into it, and Dad gave me that C10 to pay me for all the labor I put into the Camaro. I started building it, did a full frame that I built, did a chop top on it, like 2.5 inches, started building guinea pig at the same time. And so now people are watching me build C10s. So the next customer is like, hey, you should maybe do my K10. And the next customer is like, hey, looks like you'd be the guy to do my C10. And it just kept going from there. The customers basically labeled me as a C10 guy, which is fine. But I also know S10s like the back of my hand. I built like 40 of those for customers, had a couple myself. And then Camaros. I know first generation Camaros very well.
So one of the problems it seems like a lot of people have when they go through what you're going through, the trials and tribulations right now, is there's only one Jason, right? And I've seen the work that you do from the bead rolling, the fab, your vision is really unique. And how do you work through that from the business sense? Because there's only one Jason. There's so many hours in the day, like you talked about. You want to spend time with friends, family, and go out wheeling with the kids. Did you kind of go through some growing pains there as you're trying to find people to kind of fill that void as you get more customers and more products and continue to build trucks?
As far as growing pains, yeah, there's a lot of learning. And then I probably went through 20 employees, and now I've had I've had Jennifer for like a little over a year. Jordan just hit his 2-year mark. They have no plans on leaving, and I have no plans on having them leave. So hopefully we'll be our 2-man, 1-girl team until I retire, and maybe they can take all this over. But dealing with all those other employees was quite stressful. So it's very peaceful now. We have fun. We're like a little family. It's just, I tell them, if you have any stress in your life, when you come to work, you can leave it behind, because we have a wonderful working atmosphere. But as far as like getting all the work done, yeah, like last week I worked till 1 o'clock in the morning one day, 2:10 in the morning another day, painting. Cause I'm like, if I get this done tonight, it's dry and cured when I come in the morning, and I can assemble or move on to the next thing. And I don't really have a family. I'm single. My kids are like, they're here in town with their mom, but they're pretty involved in sports. So I have a lot of freedom to work on my truck. And so I do a lot of hours, but also that freedom is what got the company to where it is. I'd say we'd probably like have half the stuff accomplished that we have accomplished if I had a family this whole time. I've been able to work just every single night for pretty much years. That's actually be a good thing. But now I've got everything. My hours are down. I can work on the truck a lot. Now I'm ready to settle down, ready to start traveling. Need somebody to do all that with.
You say you have delayed or not as many hours, but I'll tell you what, Project Venom right now it looks like you're putting in 100 hours a week. Like every time I get on social media, I see something new that you're doing on that truck. So granted, you've blown it apart. I think the last thing I saw that was just absolutely stunning and really showcased your talents is the under hood. It literally looks like a Marvel comic, the way you did all that bead rolling and you kind of gave it that Venom identity. So I don't know. You say you're maybe not plugging away as many hours as you used to, but it looks like it from our perspective. So the truck just looks absolutely stunning.
Thanks. Yeah, because sometimes I can be on it by like 3 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, then work from anywhere. So if I work till 9, heck, that's 5, 6, 7 hours right there. But if I work till midnight or 1 in the morning, it's literally like getting in a whole day at work. The phone's not ringing. Employees aren't here. I can get a tremendous amount done. Yeah, Venom's got some things I haven't done before just because I feel like I'm more creative now. Like I stopped building for customers last year because our parts department's grown so much. I can't do both well. So need to do one well. And the parts department honestly is way more profitable and way less stressful. The employees can handle most of it. That's really what frees up my time. I have to do the bead rolling and then kind of run things. They do everything else. But I feel like now that I'm not overloaded, my process of thinking, the way my brain works is just completely different now. Like it's just got so many things I'm doing to it I've never done before. And it's like my brain is really, I felt like it was just clogged up for like the first like 10 years as being overloaded, going 100 mile an hour all the time. I slow down, I relax, and I enjoy it. I'm having fun building this truck.
Yeah, and you did have some amazing customer builds. I know you had Kevin's GMC was probably one of my favorite trucks not just that you've done, but just in general. Love the ochre and the white. That thing was just stunning. David C10, another killer truck. So you got to showcase some of your talents. You had the customers. Was it hard to turn customers away and make that leap of faith?
A little bit. It's hard when they're like, I feel like they're disappointed. They'll be like, well, I was really hoping you'd build my truck. Who am I going to have build it? That makes me feel kind of bad, but at the same time, saying no and knowing I've got my time and my freedom to enjoy life because I said no is awesome. Because I don't want to go back to getting my work done for the day, like in the office, building Mustang mirrors, bead rolling parts, ordering stuff in bulk, and then be like, oh, now I got to go work on this truck the rest of the day. I'm so glad I don't have to do that now. Now I can go work on my own truck. Or my brother moved home. He owns Swap Time USA, so he does the LT harnesses, everything LT. He's only 25 minutes away. In fact, he just left here. I can go to his house now and hang out with the nieces and nephews and really enjoy life. So I'm glad I built trucks while I did, though. I mean, I had to, because building the trucks gave me the opportunity to advertise like the parts. So, install the Code Digital Day, install the Vintage Air Day, talk about them. It also gave me the opportunity to learn about the parts too. So I know I can do all the install videos. Yeah, without building the trucks, there's no install videos unless I use my own trucks, which I do. But yeah, without building the customers' trucks for the first 10 years, the parts department would never be what it is.
You talked a little bit about your Mustang mirrors. I remember seeing those mirrors on the guinea pig at C10s in the park. And, they kind of stopped me in my tracks. They look so good. You made a post at one point. I loved it. It was so funny. You're like, people lose their shit when I tell them I have Mustang mirrors on my truck. Have they not known for, over 60 years, we've been running forward 9 inches and forward rear ends in these trucks. So it is kind of funny. And then did you go away to Polyway, or is that something that you do? Or what is the difference between a Mustang mirror, a Polyway mirror, and a Vannatta mirror? And how does that all kind of work out? Because I think those mirrors are very unique and they look great on everything you do. Classic Performance Products, CPP back. Joe, let's talk X10 spindles. Go.
One of our most popular parts through the years has been our 2.5-inch drop modular spindles. Really popular part. Well, we've kind of taken that to the next step. We've emulated late model Corvette, Silverado, Chevy technology into our new X10 drop spindles. They use a steel hub, sealed bearing hub, really strong piece. It's oversized bearings, definitely great for a guy using big brakes, big wheels, which I'm sure all your guys are.
You need a new spindle anyways. You're going to lower your truck. You're running a bigger wheel, a bigger brake. CPP's got it for you with their new X10 spindle. Joe, as always, thank you. CPP, classicperform.com. It's classicperform.com. Sniper 2. Are you ready to switch out that old carb for a modern EFI system? Well, Holley has a solution for you. The all-new Sniper 2. This new system was redesigned from the ground up. Available in tumbled polished or black powder coat, and there's 3 available tuning interfaces. A classic 3.5 handheld, a 5-inch mountable, which includes a GPS speedo or a Bluetooth module so you can use your smartphone. Another big bonus is the Sniper 2 has a built-in transmission control module. So if you're looking to upgrade to a 4-speed overdrive, 4L60, 4L80, you now can with ease. Holley.com to get started today. Holley.com. Hey guys, let's face it. Your truck suspension is old, and your ride can be so much better. Discover QA1 and their full range of truck, suspension components, drop kits, and coilover conversion systems. QA1.net. That's QA1.net. Marquet has been in business for over 40 years. Marquet has grown to be one of the country's premier truck parts manufacturers. They have made their original parts from the original trucks. All parts are manufactured in-house in Oklahoma City, USA. They offer quality parts built by Americans for old American-made trucks. So when you're looking for body moldings, bed strips, bed wood, and so much more, think Marquet. That's mar-k.com. What is the difference between a Mustang mirror, a Polyway mirror, and a Vannatta mirror, and how does that all kind of work out? Because I think those mirrors are very unique and they look great on everything you do.
I started buying the newer style Mustang mirrors off of eBay. They're off wrecked Mustangs, so you may get one red one, one blue one black, silver, whatever. And then after a while, they popped up on eBay brand new. And when I popped the covers off, they said Polyway on the inside. They're a direct copy except the spring-loaded part. And they're like, if you hit the mirror, it'll fold. They changed how they do that. And now I have another brand too that they seem to be the same, except internally in the mounting arm, it's an aluminum structure in there instead of plastic, but it's still easy. It's easy enough to work with. So I've got Ash Mustang mirrors and the new ones. I've been doing mostly new ones just because they're easier to get, and I don't have to worry about maybe something being broken on them that I can't see in the pictures on eBay. But yeah, I've got them painted for Venom and ready to go. They're a big seller. They sell like crazy.
Will you color match those for people, or do you just send them out raw?
Send them out raw. Yeah, because until lately, the paint booth hasn't even been set up for well over a year. Because my paint booth, since I'm not a professional painter, I paint like every 2 years. I don't have a real paint booth because it would be in my way. It would take up too much of the shop. So we got one. It uses like plastic tarps on cables. It works freaking awesome. I mean, the paint jobs are in Street Trucks magazine. But when I'm not using it, I just push it back out. I fold it all up, and it becomes part of the shop. So no, we don't. I don't do any painting for the customers. It would just add too much. I'd have to have O'Reilly's mix the paint and deliver it, and we'd have to worry about shipping and not scratching the paint, even though we do wrap them in bubble wrap. But plus, time's limited. I don't want to add anything more than I have to. So all these guys, they're having their trucks painted anyway.
With Guinea Pig, kind of being done, you've really worked your creative magic on it. What's your inspiration with Venom? Were you just to that point with Guinea Pig where you wanted to build another truck, and then this vision just took over?
I try to remember, why did I decide to build another C10? I think it was my first goal was I'm going to show people how to build a killer C10 on a budget, which did not work out because I blew the budget big time. But I want to show people if you just get these parts I'm using, because Venom had that first chassis, and you don't have to have all these parts. You can get your truck pretty low on air. You can get your buddies involved to help do like body work and paint. You can keep the cost down. But between pulling stuff out of my inventory, then I have my own line of parts, and a certain amount of companies give me quite a bit. That just kind of automatically blew the budget. And now that I built Guinea Pig, I was at the beginning of the business. So I was poor, for the first year or two. And then as things started going better and better, I started pulling off a lot of eBay parts off of Guinea Pig and replacing them with the real stuff like the Boyd's fuel cell and all that. Well, with Venom, that's not an issue anymore. So between being financially successful now and then being able to get all the discounts on all the parts, I decided, since I blew the budget, I'm like, you know what? It says 48 then, and 49 now. I'm like, you worked really hard for 10 years, almost 12 hours a day this entire time, made good decisions. Let's just go crazy with this thing. Do everything you've ever wanted to do, because you've never really been able to do that before. So Venom is a daily driver, but it's got, the LT2, the 10-speed, QA1's building me a carbon fiber drive shaft right now. It's got everything I want on it, except a supercharger, but I'll probably do that on Guinea Pig when I rebuild it. I'm going to rebuild it after Venom's done. But then they'll both be really drivable.
One thing about Guinea Pig is I feel like it's a race truck. I feel like Venom is going to be a race truck. Will you race these trucks? Will you autocross these trucks? Do you build that either one of those trucks with that end goal? Because that's how they look. They look tough as hell. Obviously, you've got the LT2, you've got the 10-speed transmission. You're building it with all this experience. Will you go out and rip it?
Venom, I probably will, because with the Porterbuilt drop member, frame stiffener, and back half, it's really heavy duty. It looks like something it would handle well, but air suspension and autocross don't exactly go together. But like, there's like Ride Tech, they do it all the time to show off their parts, how well they do on the track. And Guinea Pig is going to go on a Porterbuilt setup too, which means I could go coilover at that time and get rid of the air. But for me, I use my air suspension. I got to lift my trucks up just to get in and out of my shop so my front spoiler doesn't get ripped off. It's handy to go to work on them. You can air them up to get the jack underneath, getting in and out of my trailer and hooking it, strapping them. So easy to get in the trucks when you can just air them up. So I love my air suspension for that reason. Plus, I can set different ride heights at shows. But Yeah, both trucks are inspired off the autocross scene. I love how those trucks look. To me, the meanest looking vehicle in the world is like a race car or a race truck. The nice thing about the autocross vehicles, those guys drive them to work, they drive them to the track, they race with their buddies, they got air conditioning, stereo systems, leather interior. They're like the perfect vehicle. So that's what these are made to look like. But I'll probably take Venom out on the track, maybe at like a Good Guy show or C10 Nationals where they're got it set up just to see what it can do. I'm going to have just shy of 500 horsepower. Most of those guys are running probably 6, 7, 800 horsepower, but really it's all for fun anyway. So
you brought up your spoiler. You guys, you do such a great job with that, the way that looks and that toughness. I feel like, and I think it was Venom, but it might be another truck. I almost feel like you might have been doing something for a customer too. But at one point I look at it and it's like I look like a Cat Eye SS truck, which is like an 03, 04 SS, and that front intake spoiler bumper, Vanetta style. It all kind of comes together. What's your inspiration and what's your thoughts behind that? Because it looks so tough.
Well, we have the Pro Touring bumper I came out with 2 or 3 years ago. That's one of my favorite parts because, well, it's something I designed, so we're the only one who has it. Take our front spoiler and put it with the front bumper, like attach it to the frame rails behind the bumper. That's a really cool look. But then we also got the Pro Touring front roll pan, which is Mod Shop Metalworks makes it. But when I built Guinea Pig, I took their roll pan, cut the air duct into it for that look, put the ABS turn signals into it. But then so many customers are asking for that version that Mod Shop said, hey, give us all the measurements off Guinea Pig and we'll make this for you. So we sell more of the Pro Touring roll pans now than we do the regular ones. But yeah, if you want a truck to have that race truck look to it, there's actually a formula. If you do our front spoiler, Pro Touring bumper, or Pro Touring roll pan, Mustang mirrors, rear wing, get you a nice low stance, like right on top of your tires with your wheel wells, and a Pro Touring wheel, and nice wide tires, that's it. You can still have all your trim, your two-tone, custom paint job. It's going to have that Pro Touring look.
You guys, for the audience, you guys can follow Vannatta Fab and see his build and see not only Guinea Pig, which is going to be, the Red Racer is kind of what I probably dubbed it when I first met you. And then the Venom C10 that is just wicked as hell right now. Porterbuilt, you've got the LT2, you've got the 10L90, and it's gonna rip. So it'll be fun. Do you have as much as I see you building that right now, is there a deadline for you on that you're cranking towards?
Sort of. Like that's why my brother was here earlier today. He's gonna be around probably quite a bit, maybe this week. It's up to him to get it running because that's why I have the LT motor in it. Is since he's home and he can support that, he can do all the tuning. Of course, I have his harness on it. Wait to be at LS Fest here in like a month, because Venom's going to be in the Wiring Solutions booth showing off my brother's harness, which we did that last year too, and that was just an absolutely amazing show. So that was Venom's first chassis, but it was all powder coated. The motor was in it, it ran. So we pushed it off the trailer into its spot. This year now it's a whole new chassis, and now we're all back to where we were. It's all powder coated, the motor's in there, we're about ready to fire it up. I need a few hours to do the fuel system and the wiring. And there may still be wiring to finish and things like that. But that's the goal now, is to have it at LS Fest in that booth. And then we've got C10 Nationals the next weekend. After that, I'm done till probably LST next year. Or if World of Wheels this year at Bartle Hall in Kansas City is not the same weekend as LST, I love it there. That's a pretty cool show. A lot of my local friends be at. So October is probably going to be completely finished.
Wow. You're going to be in the Wiring Solutions booth at LS Fest, and that's in Bowling Green, the big the granddaddy over there, right? Then you're going to go over to the SITS, which I'm calling the Southern Illinois Truck Show. SITS. That's gosh, I don't think I'm going to get this out before then, but it'll be right behind it. So you'll be out in Southern Illinois for that show. Then you've got LS Fest. Then you've got C10 Nationals. You've got a busy few shows to hit. When you go to those other shows, do you also are you from the Vanetta perspective, or are you going to be in Wiring Solutions, or do you guys kind of tandem up from those shows? So you're splitting your booth, if you will.
Oh yeah, when I'm in their booth, it's great advertising for me too, because people ask, oh, Oh, I mean, like everything on the truck is off the website. So they ask about the suspension, the wheels, the air system, down to the exhaust, coil pack covers, Boyd's fuel cell. That's all off my website. So it's good advertising too.
You've got so much experience, 10 years of, really grinding, like you said, 12 hours a day, building your business, building your trucks. The audience wants to build a C10. The audience is trying to figure out how to build a budget build. The audience might want to build a 6-figure truck. What's some of the lessons that you've learned for a guy who's not only slinging parts, but you're installing them? You're trying a panel out, you're throwing it out because it didn't work the way you wanted, you're welding something up, you're going through the whole process, especially with the guinea pig and now with Venom, and then customer trucks throughout. What's some of the advice that Jason can throw out to the audience?
That makes me think, I wish I had been making a list of all the things I've done wrong, all the mistakes I've learned from, because I pass that on to my customers. It's like, hey, I tried this did not work, so don't do this, don't go try it. I already know it's not going to work for you, it's going to slow down your build. One of the most important things I can tell people is you don't need to go to the salvage yards anymore to get your parts. I get, the entire body pretty much, from grill to tailgate, from LMC, but these other companies all basically have the same parts. For the most part, they're getting them from the same factories. They appear to be copies of the originals because, Frank's, that blue chop top truck, that was the original parts. Then I did Daryl's truck, that green and white one, and mine. I did the exact same modifications to the body panels as I did to Frank's truck, to Daryl's truck. It's all the same gapping. So I'm cutting in the same spots. Just get new parts. Some stuff you don't have a choice, rockers, cab floors, all that, unless you can afford a new cab. I mean, they're pretty pricey, but if you can afford it, definitely do it, because then you can guarantee there's no rust hiding in that truck anywhere. That's just nice to say. You can also tell people I have a brand new C10. Like I have like a 2023 C10. And if you're building that truck to sell it, you're literally selling somebody a brand new truck that you can guarantee there's no rust hiding in it. But just go buy new parts. I wouldn't say they have any parts I'd stay away from particularly, but really everything on my website is like the highest quality I can find. I don't want returns. I don't, it takes up time. It's a time suck. I don't want unhappy customers. They get one bad part, they may not back to us. We just had a customer get a really high-end part, couldn't figure out how to install it, destroyed it, threw it in the trash, and then went off on us on an email. And it's like, he's like, I'll never do business with you again. And I'm like, listen, that part you bought is the highest quality on the market. I use it on my trucks. But he's gone forever because that's just how that person was. So if we have any parts that could fail, either I know that first and don't ever put them on the website, or if we have a part that's problematic, I'll pull it off the website because I have plenty of other parts to sell. So
cool. What's a part? I don't want you to say a part that you hated, because you obviously don't sell it anymore, and we can figure that out. But what's a part that you get, like, that you were so surprised at the level of quality, the ease of the install, and how you would never build a truck without building, with this part?
So you bought a C10 and it either had AC at one time or it wasn't even an option. Well, Vintage Air has the solution for you. Their SureFit kits are designed to place the evaporator and hoses behind the dash for a factory clean look. The Vintage Air SureFit kits are the best value and the most completely engineered air conditioning system you can install in your C10. Damn, son, the choice is obvious. VintageAir.com.
Need C10 parts? Well, here at Pro, we actually have trucks. We build them, we drive them, and we deal with them every day. It's just part of who we are. We carry the best products for your truck project from the major name brands such as QA1, React, Painless, Dakota, Beltec, Borgeson, Bear, and even more. Give us a call or check us out on the web.
You've heard me talk about my gauges, Dakota Digital. I love them. Dakota Digital has the best gauges for our trucks. These kits are complete with sensors for any engine. They look just like the stock clusters, but have all the technology you'd expect from Dakota Digital. You can change the lighting colors, customize the reading in the message centers, and do it all from the mobile app. That's right, the HDX and RTX series have Bluetooth technology. It's like a modern truck, but even better in a classic. Dakota Digital is absolutely the best in aftermarket gauges, so check them out at dakotadigital.com. dakotadigital.com. What's a part that that you get, like, that you were so surprised at the level of quality, the ease of the install, and how you would never build a truck without building a with this part?
There's a few. I have favorites. I remember after I installed all my Porterbuilt stuff, I told Nate, I was like, dude, I'm like blown away, like installing the upper and lower control arms and everything. I'm like, I never even got out my rubber mallet to tap things together. Everything just slid into place, but at the same time, nothing was loose. It was perfect. I'm like, things move in the jig. I've used jigs. I'm a fabricator. It's like, do you all know they're going to move and you've pre-designed those jigs for that? He's like, yes. And he showed me like his CAD drawings on his computer when he was designing some of my stuff. It's really, really impressive. But I've also used, Chop and Block, Acme. I'm a dealer for them too. Well, I'm a dealer for Roach Shop and No Limit. All their stuff is like that. It's pretty amazing how so many companies are cranking out amazing parts. We have like 20 shops now cranking out C10 chassis. And as far as I know, there's nothing bad about them. But I tell every customer, though, about the Trick Manufacturing door latches. Yeah, customers, if they ask me, hey, what's something you suggest? I'll be like, well, I'm a salesman. This is how I make my living. I'll suggest all kinds of things. But like, no, honestly, Trick Manufacturing door latches, they're not even mine. And then the tailgate upgrade kit, which is sort of mine because I became a dealer for Tracy. It owns TD Trunnion Design. It replaces the tailgate hinge with the Delron, so it fits nice and tight, takes the slack out of the slop out of the tailgate. No more metal to metal. Then I was already a dealer for LS Fab when Chris and Chris came out with the tailgate assist, the gas strut. And then I became a dealer for Tray 5 because I can't remember if I did that or they got a hold of me. It doesn't matter. But anyway, to get their latches. And then I took all three of those parts, put them on my truck and the customer's truck, made my videos. It's unbelievable. These tailgates are terrible. And now you can then I made the electric part of it. So we got a Dakota Digital door popper kit, solenoids, and the tailgate works super slick. And I tell pretty much everybody now, like, hey, if you're building a nice truck, even just something for cruise nights and going to get ice cream and stuff and out to dinner, get the Trick Manufacturing door latches and a tailgate upgrade kit. It just makes everything so much nicer. I love it. Like if I am vendoring and somebody asks me about the parts on the table, I'll be like, hey, go open my tailgate. And I like when you open it, just let go of it. And they're like, are you serious? Are you? I was like, yeah, just let go of it. And they'll watch it go down so slow. I'm like, okay, now shut my tailgate, but don't slam it. When you're about to shut it, close it with one finger. And then they're so impressed by that. I'm like, and here's the kit right here on the table. You come give me some money and go install this on your truck.
Give me that money. Mm-hmm. I think the key with that really is that you've got a rolling billboard, and for the audience, we're so blessed. And I've got another podcast host who happens to be a Mopar guy. He also builds C10s, but he always gives me a hard time. And he's like, freaking parts catalog, builder truck, C10 world. He's always kind of a little bit jealous. And for us, it's modern technology with vintage metal. If you're buying new metal, like Jason suggests, then you're still getting vintage style. The key with that really is if you're going patina or not. If you talk about going to the junkyard, you talk about finding some fenders, some tailgates, some different body parts. If you're patina and you want that old school look, then you still can do that. And that's a big thing right now, is how much am I going to spend on paint, and am I going to blow my budget on new metal, new sheet metal? And then am I going to spend, 10, 20, 30, maybe you try to learn to paint on your own and you go through that adventure. But nonetheless, we have amazing parts that make these classic trucks more modern, from Dakota Digital, the Vintage Air, the Trick Manufacturing, so many upgradable things. And it's kind of just comfort food. When you get in there, you're like, hey, I've got modern gauges. I know I can trust this. I know that this works. And the reliability comes with it.
Yeah, that was one of the themes with Venom 2, was making it as modern as possible. So I started with the first chassis I put in the rack and pinion. I put in two different ones. So I was testing them. And I didn't like the first one, so I pulled it off the website. And Then got with No Limit, installed their rack and pinion. It is awesome. It sells really well. Then, yeah, I've got the 10-inch Stinger high 10 screen in the dash. It does all kinds of things. Then we'll have cruise control. I have got the computerized air suspension on there, fuel injection. So I'll have lots of horsepower, plus should have pretty good gas mileage and fairly decent emissions. I care about the environment. I'd rather have clean emissions than really bad ones. Yeah, so I want that truck to be really modern, really safe. So it's got the big brakes on it with a booster. That should be pretty awesome. That truck was a lot of it's about comfort and safety and just really to build the most enjoyable truck possible. I want to get in it and take trips, and if I'm off somewhere and I see a car show, I can pull in and compete and take back off and go somewhere else.
Cool. Perfect. What's your brother's, is his Instagram, is his social media, is his website Wiring Solutions?
No, that's a company that, so my brother, he owns Swap Time USA, and he's really well known in the C10 world. Every time I talk to a customer who has an LT motor, I'll be like, hey, if you need a harness and stuff, my brother owns Swap Time. And they'll be like, your brother's Mitch? I'm like, yep. So it's like, I talked to somebody the other day in Canada. They said they've gotten 35 harnesses from him, and they're getting ready to get 3 more. And that's for C10, Chevelles, Camaros. And he doesn't say much about it. He doesn't like to talk about himself. So I like to talk about myself, I guess. But he's got an awesome website I didn't even know about. One of my customers told me about it with all the how-to videos. But he's got one of the highest end harnesses on the market. It does a lot of stuff GM said you're not gonna be able to figure out how to make these things work. He's figured out how to make all those things work. So yeah, Swap Time USA is his website, but he just doesn't have the harnesses. So Wiring Solutions got involved. My brother designed the harness, but now he needs somebody to manufacture it. They're involved with a company, I guess, manufactures high-end harnesses. They make the harness. So my brother buys them in bulk and they're his, and he resells them on the website. Like I know the other day, a box came in so big, we had to unload it with a forklift. Then he came and got it, and it was all harnesses. But he's also I've got like a 2020 Ford Ranger shifter, so it's got that modern look. My brother figured out how to make the electronics in it work with 8L90 and 10L90. Part of that is because Ford and Chevy did go together to design those. But the little button on the side, I guess I can shift it through that if I want to. No LT motors have power steering pumps, so he's got that all figured out. He's got a company. He designed everything, and the company makes the parts for him. He has his own accessories for the LT, so you can have your power steering pump on there. Other different like electronic modules and things. Half of it I don't understand. I don't understand all that electronic stuff. So, yeah, he don't understand how I can fabricate and design the way I do, and I don't understand how he tunes and designs a harness. I had the harness out today, just kind of draping it out and getting it ready, and I was like, it's mind blowing that he designed this entire thing. Going to his shop, it's pretty cool. He's got racks and racks and racks of wires and plugs and all this stuff. But that's for the people that he's modifying harnesses for. Like I said, he's not making them. He has a place makes them, but he does a lot of modifying of harnesses. Yeah, he even makes a harness for that 4-cylinder is turbocharged, I guess, on the Camaros. The rock crawlers are using that because they have a displacement maximum, and that little motor's got a bunch of torque. So he designed a harness for those guys for that little motor.
Yeah, you don't want all that horsepower. Even like you were talking, 500 horsepower in Venom. I remember, what is it, Finch? He said anything over 600 is useless on autocross because you end up going so fast that you can't stop and you can't control. So it'll be fun to see you get out there with Venom. Love the build, love the truck. Your vision with that truck, and it's cool to hear the family lineage between you and Mitch and just how you guys have ended up where you have ended up in our scene and creating solutions for problems or just different ideas that you have throughout what you're doing with the classic truck industry.
Yeah, it's pretty weird how neither one of us planned this out. Like he was working for a place in Vegas that was less swapping, a lot of even brand new Jeeps, all kinds of things. So he was learning all that there, became their electrician, then went on his own, but was kind of still doing some stuff with them, and then went completely on his own. And that's how that got started. But he started with the LTs there right before he left and just kept with that. And then, yeah, my whole story of I'd done this before and I left my job to have more time with my kids, and it just took off. And I was a C10 guy from being raised with them. And then we ended up in two careers where we had these same customers like all the time. Yeah, one of the first shows we got to go to together now that he's home. One of my customers called me. He's like, yeah, I just have a few questions about, I'm getting ready to order some more parts off the website. And he's like, yeah, we're about to get off the phone. He's like, yeah, I got to call your brother next about some of my LT stuff. I'm like, well, he's sitting right next to me. He can hear you through the microphone. If you want to just talk to him. He's like, no kidding. I was like, yeah, we're together a lot now. So that's pretty cool. One day my brother walked in my shop here. He had one of my customers with him. I'm like, why are you with my customer? He's like, he's my customer too. So
he loves me more.
Yeah, even when he was still in Vegas, he would go to people's houses to like, because they would install their LS or LT, but then they can't get it to run right. And so he would go there and get it all going for him, or they'd bring it to him. But they'd be like, hey, I've got your brother Jason's like firewall kit or engine bay sheet metal kit or his Mustang mirrors on my truck. I just thought that was pretty cool how we're both, pretty involved in a lot of these builds. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, it really is. It is. The Vannatta boys are back at it again. So, well, Jason, I really want to push our audience over to you. I think they're probably already following a lot of the stuff that you do. For the audience, it's easy. Vannatta Fab, Vannatta. Pretty easy. And then for the website as well, Facebook, social media. Anything else you want to throw out there?
Yeah, if anybody has any advice, you can call me or email us. My number on the website is the tech line. The other number's for Jordan. He runs my parts department. So if you need you want to know how long it's going to take to get something, or if you've already ordered something, want to know like where it's at, that's Jordan. I love giving advice, with what I've learned and helping people. Even if you're like, man, I don't know how to paint my truck. I'm like, what's your favorite colors? What's your goal? I love doing that. I like the other day I changed the guy's paint job and he was so happy because I'm like, hey, this color and this color actually works together better. He envisioned it. He's like, oh man, you're right. And that's a lot of fun. Just helping people, making their build go easier. I do have a lot of videos, how-to videos I've made as I've learned new things on the website. Some are install videos, but a lot of times I'll tell a customer, hey, before you it even says on the website, before you order the Easy Clip hose kit or our firewall kit, go watch the video first. That's going to help explain the options. It's cut down like 95% of my phone calls on that. But then the customer a lot of times will be like, I've watched all your videos already and they've been very helpful. So that's exciting. I get to help people with this job, and I'm helping them create their dream truck too. So that's very rewarding as well. And I get to hang out with them at shows because I'm in Missouri. So most of the shows I go to are all scattered across the South and then up like Tennessee, Kentucky, the Carolinas. Well, that's where most of my customers are. That's where most of the C10s are. And I get to meet a lot of my customers, and that's really enjoyable. Can't have too many friends, and the C10 guys are just the coolest guys for the most part. They're super nice.
One of the things that I really enjoy that you're saying is that not only do you build them, do you instruct them, do you advise, but you break bread, because that's such a big thing. I do see some people who won't go to shows, and I'm like, why don't you go to shows? And they're like, well, I don't want people mad at me. I don't want this. I don't want this. And you're like, hey, I'm laying it all out there. These are my people. So that's an admirable trait for you to go out there. And the funny thing is the guy who was pissed off that threw the high end part away, I always feel like there's always a solution, right? You could probably run into them, drink a beer with them, and be at a show and be like, listen, this is what happened. We'd love to, help you facilitate it and take care of it, because a customer, a friend, that's important to me, and let's work through it. Don't just get pissed off and, act like we're not going to support you.
No, he was crazy. So
yeah,
we get about 3 of those a year.
Yeah, and, they're like girlfriends. You don't the good ones, you keep the good ones, and the bad ones you just let them go.
I told him, I was like, all you had to do was call me and I would just walk you through it. There's also a how-to video. It's 2.5 minutes long. That's how easy this is to do, to put this particular part together. And he says, yeah, called me names, and this I was like, okay, this is one of our crazy ones. But luckily we have thousands of customers that are super cool and super supportive. So that's fine. And like, it wasn't even my part, but oh well.
Yeah. All right. Well, have fun at the Southern Illinois Truck Show. Have a good time at LS Fest. And for our audience, again, if you've got a part, you've got a question, hit up Jason. Again, social media, easy to talk to, and check out his builds, because the guinea pig, it sounds like, is going to be resurrected and broke down again. And Venom is just right there. And it's one just really rad ass C10.
Thanks. Oh, if you all want to see the builds, like the website has the parts and it does have a gallery on it, but go to my Facebook page, my Jason Vannatta like personal Facebook page. It's also a great place to message me. It's very easy to get a hold of me on there. My Instagram is Vannatta Fab. I post everything on there. I got 4 different C10 pages I post on, plus my personal, plus the Vannatta Fabrication work page. So you can literally watch me build Venom. You can go on there right now and just go back all the way 18 months ago to when it's a chassis hanging off the loader on our tractor in the snow till now. Van Fab is also a shortcut for the website. If you can't remember Vannatta Fabrication, that's a lot to remember. So I had a shortcut made. I think that's pretty much it. But I just want to thank everybody for your support. You're supporting me and 2 of my employees, and we've all got kids we're taking care of, and so we all appreciate all the business, and I look forward to seeing everybody at these shows, hanging out.
If you have any questions and some reason you don't get a hold of them, get a hold of me and I'll get a hold of them, and we can make sure that the customer and the audience are taken care of.
Sounds great.
Okay, Jason, appreciate your time, bro.
Thanks for having me.
That's a wrap. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate your time. Safe travels wherever you're headed to. Again, if you got questions, comments, concerns, Ronnie, RONNIE at Truck Talk Media. 9 years. Crazy. Thanks so much for the continued support over all the years. We really do appreciate it. And this would not be possible without the C10 Nation. So for that, thanks, guys. Late.